We've spoken previously about the group known as WASPI. This is the Women Against State Pension Inequality. They are now expanding their efforts and creating two groups for the east and west of the county because they say that women are living on toast and are unable to make ends meet because of unfair pension changes. So now they have these two groups. As I say, the one in the east has been going for a while. This new group in the west launches today. It will continue to put pressure on the government to reverse a decision which saw the pension age raised by up to 6 years for women between 1951 and 1960. I'm pleased to say we're joined in the studio by Andrea Edmonds, who will coordinate the members joining WASPI in Dorset West. Andrea, good morning.
Good morning.
Very good to see you. Probably best to explain this in the context of your life. So what happened with you regards retirement age?
First of all, could I say that our aim is not to reverse the Pension Acts. It's for fairer transitional to 63, and that WASPI fully agrees with the equalisation of pensions.
But you have an issue with these.
There's no transactional.
Yeah, and as I say, people like you in this situation where you had hoped and intended to retire or receive a state pension at a certain age, and now that's been knocked down the road a little bit. Just tell me about that.
Okay. Well, I was told at 59 and a half that I wouldn't be getting my pension until 63. I'd already closed my self-employed business. I was in the process of selling up and moving to retire in another country. Everything came to a full stop. And I then lost huge amounts of money. Buying and selling houses didn't happen anymore. Had to reopen my business and try to recover that way. Emotionally, it was devastating because I paid in for nearly 40 years already. And then suddenly, with no warning at all, I found out by pure chance, that I was, 63. Some women, of course, are having to go on to 66 and didn't find out until 58 and 59.
And that awareness seems to be the biggest problem, because I may be wrong here, but these changes to state pension age have been around, I think, since the mid-1990s. But there are many people who weren't told that they were not going to be able to receive the state pension at 60 as they had anticipated. Like you, until very close to what they thought was going to be their retirement age.
Actually, it's 2.5 million women were not told. It was completely kept a secret. We were not told. And there's all kinds of evidence to support that.
So the last time we spoke about this, WASPI were up in Parliament campaigning about this. And at that point, there was just one of these bodies effectively in the county. Why this drive now? Why have you set up a new West Dorset branch?
Well, it's simple, really. Dorset's a large county. It's fairly rural in places, and my colleague Sue Plater has been running now what we call the East Dorset. She can only do so much, and a lot is being not done over in Bridport. We're going right up to North Dorset, right as far as Gillingham. The whole county will now be covered by two coordinators. The West and East is only a geographical name, actually. We couldn't really, it's got nothing to do whether you're the West or the East. We'll come together jointly and separately to do activities.
I see.
But to bring information that's not been brought before.
And what kind of stories are you hearing then? So I mentioned at the start there that women are living on toast. You've had a rough ride of it as far as your expected state pension age goes. You're not alone?
No. I was with a group yesterday in London, actually, and it was really awful. One of the ladies was so devastated. She's now into deep depression, and that's happening throughout the country now. Women are so bereft. They have no money. They're selling furniture. They are literally going around food banks, handouts, and depression is setting in. But worst of all, they're now queuing up to get JSA at the age of 63 and 64.
The Job Seekers Allowance.
Job Seekers Allowance. They're being forced to go through the CV process and go to interviews knowing they're not going to get jobs. And
what's the solution to that? You say that you don't want to dial back on these changes to parity in terms of state retirement age, and that's going to continue to creep upwards to 66 and 67, we anticipate. But So yeah, what can be done to address this?
Well, that's a very good question, and it's a question that's being asked all the time. We are in the hands of the government, of course, so we're trying very hard to talk to them on a daily basis to try and find just equal transitional arrangements. Just in Germany, for example, they did the same. They equalised. They did the women at 6 months and at a time, increments of 6 months, up to it's still going on. We're the only country in Europe that's done this to our women. 2.5 million 1950s women, immediately post-war born, who were discriminated in the workplace unbelievably. If you worked in a bank and you got married, you had to leave as a married woman. You know, we have actually created a section of society, stability in society now, based on our good management of the 1950s. How is it going to be resolved? By keeping on and on and on.
I know this may feel cold, but I mean, by and large, 60-year-olds now are more full of life, healthier than they have ever been. You can shake your head. There are obviously there are exceptions.
There are exceptions,
but the lion's share of 60-year-olds, 60 is the new 50 or 40. What would be so wrong with these women continuing to work?
It's not that.
It's just about the fact that they weren't told.
Exactly, and many people have lost their life savings already because they'd taken early retirement 6 months thinking they were going to get their pension at 60, and suddenly they've given up their jobs and can't get them back. They are looking after elderly parents. They are now having to go back to work to get their national insurance contributions, even though they've paid in 45 years. I mean, that's unbelievable that women have paid in 45 years and suddenly, on a promise that they've always had to get their state pension age at 60, and 6 months before they're 60, they're told not.
Okay. Andrea,
I'm very passionate about this.
Understand, and we like that.
But I want to just say that the name of West and East Dorset is purely geographical.
Okay, so if someone's listening and they want to get in touch, they can choose a WASPI at will.
It's just simple. It's got nothing to do with the political areas in the county.
Understood. Very good to see you this morning. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Andrea Edmonds there, who's the coordinator of the WASPI group for Dorset West. That's Women Against State Pension Inequality. You can find out more about that group online.